Here we go, family. More double standards, racialized standards, I call them, that exist inside the so called justice system between white people and black people. Here we have it: a young white supremacist takes it upon himself to kill his mother and kill his stepfather and be up in the house with the decomposing bodies for about 2 weeks, and taking pictures of the decomposing bodies, just a bunch of nonsense. And this young white supremacist, had a plan and a plot to, take out the president. He had ties to neo-Nazi groups, and he was also trying to, in his mind, quote unquote, rather, save the white race, which suggests that in white supremacist society, they know the white race is in trouble. But why is the mainstream media being so tight-lipped in this situation, in favor of dumping all the negative publicity onto our brother Carmelo, Anthony. I wanted to put that out there because it goes back to them double standards, racialized standards that exist inside the so-called justice system between white people and black people. They trying to put all the negative publicity on our brother, but fail to, address the, negative, demonic things that come down from their community, such as this nonsense that we got here, in favor of demonizing, blackness, and our brother Carmelo Anthony is a straight A student, an honor roll student, active member of his community and church, and they just trying to, put off the, false narrative on him that he's a bad seed from birth, he's a stone cold killer, this, that, and the other. And I don't rock with that whole narrative because that whole narrative, goes back to, the false narrative that white supremacist society wants to push. And that is, what's white has got to be right and what's black has got to be demonized. And I don't rock with that whole narrative. But side note, our brother Carmelo Anthony is now, out of jail on bond. His bail was reduced to 250,000, which he was able to make. He had a black judge, and now the black judge, and this case is saying she's receiving threats from white supremacist society. Also, our brother Carmelo Anthony's family is receiving threats from white supremacist society. So we got to keep our eyes on that, aspect as well. But I got the audio and the video of this, young white supremacist, who was, tied in and clicked up with neo-Nazi groups and trying to bring about, a plan to, unalive the president. And, he unalived his parents, and he had a, plan to, quote unquote, save the white race, So I got the audio and the video of this, and we're going to walk through and talk about it how we normally do, family. Fair use.
A federal search warrant, unsealed Friday, details a murder plot as part of a plan targeting President Donald Trump. The documents attribute that plot to 17-year-old Waukesha student Nikita Kassab. Charged in the shooting deaths of his mother, Tatiana, and stepfather, Donald Mayer, inside their home February 11th. According to
his father had an office in that home, and his stepfather's body was in that office. And with this, particular segment don't put out, but I found it on another one that he was up in the office with his father's decomposing body and taking pictures of his decomposing posing with the decomposing body, sheer wickedness, and devilishness, and this is, very telling that the mainstream white media, is not willing to cover this. They're very tight-lipped when it comes to degenerateness, and the wickedness coming down from white society in favor of, trying to put out, bad publicity on black society. I don't rock with that whole narrative, but let's continue.
Prosecutors, the teenager stayed inside the home with their bodies for 12 days.
Victim B body was
12 days. Did y'all hear that, family? Inside the house with his mother and, stepfather's bodies. He was smelling funk, decomposing body, rigor mortis, you name it. This is what we looking at right here on the screen, family, is the face of pure evil and unrighteousness. But let's continue.
Appeared to have been deceased for some time, was unable to definitively identify who it was.
Police arrested Kassab in Kansas weeks later, finding him with his stepfather's car, gun, and $14,000. The motive for the murders, according to the federal warrant, was to use that money to fund a plan calling for the president's assassination, to, quote, foment a political revolution in the United States and save the white race. According to the records, Kassab shared an affinity for the neo-Nazi group, the Order of Nine Angles. And they also reference a 3-page manifesto quoted as saying, as to why, specifically Trump, I think it's obvious. By getting rid of the president and perhaps the vice president, that is guaranteed to bring some chaos. The records show Kasap on the platform's TikTok and Telegram discussed buying a drone to use in an attack. And investigators say he told a classmate, quote, when they saw 10 consecutive attacks in the news, it would have been him.
Yeah, family, that's just a bunch of, nonsense, and it shows you the double standards, racialized standards that exist inside the so-called justice system. They ain't, running this story not in large numbers, but yet they'll sit there and try to, demonize our brother Carmelo Anthony, and message to the mainstream white media, stop being one-sided in favor of that whole false narrative. That's what is white has got to be right. Just my thoughts on the matter. Peace.